Hi, this is Dr. Stack here again. The other point that I'm going to make is what I'm hearing from everybody, and I'm very aware of it, is the cost of electricity. I mean, the cost of ESB and electricity has absolutely, escalated hugely over the past few years. And recent reports said a huge number of people were falling behind with their bills. Now, who's making the profit? These companies are making massive profits. And again, the question is, should these companies be allowed to make all these profits at the expense of the middle income person, the squeeze in the middle, who's paying extraordinary amounts for energy, but also, older people that are, they say you have to make a choice between food and heat, and food has gone up hugely in prices as well, particularly since COVID. So we're dealing with a huge cost of living crisis. Not only that, on top of the housing crisis. I mean, it's understandable that people are leaving the country, ones that people that can or have opportunities to leave Ireland are leaving Ireland. And unless we tackle these issues and tackle these profiteers, people who are making, again, it's vested interest. I'd put it down, inverted commas, vested interest. The small few people making massive amounts of profit that are not in line with the common good for the majority of people. And long term, if these policies are not, or if the policies are not changed in some way to put the brakes on massive profits in the energy sector, in the food sector, I'm not so sure about the profits in the food sector, but I mean, I'm sure we could look at that. The huge increase in food there has to be somebody making profits out of the huge inputs in food. But certainly, the energy prices are massive, and people are feeling the squeeze. There's no point in saying they aren't. Ordinary working people are feeling huge squeeze. Businesses are going out of business because of the cost of rates, the cost of electricity, the overheads. A huge amount of middle income earners, small shops, small businesses, pubs are being closed, and these are kind of the centre of the communities in a lot of cases. They're the backbone of communities, and they're all being closed down. I mean, this is a trend we're seeing every day of the week. On my feed, I see X amount of shops. The latest shop in Galway, Dublin, Cork, all these places, fantastic shops, and that were the heart of communities over many years are closing down. And it has to be the cost of running these businesses. And also, I suppose, people are so hard pressed with regard to the cost of living. They're not going out as much, as they used to. And then the access to transport, where there's an issue with drink, people are afraid to drink and drive and that sort of thing. So people are staying at home for all kinds of reasons, and all these businesses, which were the heart of a lot of Irish communities, and they also were places where people met and socialised. So they were good places for social cohesion and people chatting, and all of that are all closing down at a very significant rate. So the squeeze middle right across the ordinary public sector worker to the ordinary person that's running a small business or a medium-sized business, they're really feeling the pinch. And every day of the week you're seeing, or the next business to close down, the next business to close down. And the reason they're closing down mainly has to be the cost of rent and the cost of electricity and all the other services that they're paying, that they have to pay for, generally referred to as the overheads. The overheads for these squeeze middle right across are astronomical, and some people, again, a small few, are profiteering at the expense of a huge number of people in the squeeze middle. And in my opinion, it is against the common good and should not be allowed, and policies should be put in place to stop this happening, a la the policies of Dr. Peter Bacon. I just want to get that word correct. It's Dr. Peter Bacon, who did a huge amount of work, and then his policies and he's very practical and simple policies, for putting the brakes in the housing market were abandoned because of the undue influence of vested interest.